What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. I am Ben with the BTC Sessions, and I'm here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've been here for a few days this week. I am here for the Unconfiscatable conference put on by the legendary Tone Vase. So I've been hanging out with people through the week, got to co-host the Scammies alongside my brother-in-arms, Nico from Simply Bitcoin, and got to hang out with some fun people down here. And so for this week's episode of Why Are We Bullish, we got a little bit of one-on-one time with a few people to chat and just a little bit more intimate, able to find out why some individuals are feeling bullish this week. So I do hope you enjoy the show. Of course, please do like, sub, share. All those things really do help this content get in front of more eyeballs. But without further ado, I am Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your daily session.
HODL the Bitcoin.
Bitcoin Well is on a mission to enable independence by being one of the easiest and quickest ways to purchase Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And the best part about it, every buy goes directly into your own self-custody. They never hold your coins. You can add a Bitcoin address as part of onboarding. There's a transparent 1% spread, no hidden fees, no withdrawal fees. Plus they have KYC free sells and bill payments on their website. They're also a publicly traded company under the ticker BTCW on the TSXV. Check them out over at bitcoinwell.com. Check out my full tutorial on how to use them, and you can check out the links in the show notes down below and sign up today. Keeper is a mobile Bitcoin application for managing and securing your funds for the long term. You can set up hot wallets for day-to-day spending or create digital vaults for deep cold storage. They also offer assisted multisig options as well as inheritance planning. And on top of that, Keeper boasts a long list of support for Bitcoin hardware, longer than I've seen for any other mobile application. You can check them out today by searching Bitcoin Keeper in your app store or heading to bitcoinkeeper.app.
Yeah, man.
Good. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Life couldn't be better, actually.
Yeah, rooftop, having a beverage. We're in Vegas, and
Indeed.
we just got to attend Unconfiscatable. It's been a good time. You enjoyed it?
Yeah, man. It's always a great time. You know, Tone Vase was the person who helped orange pill my brother, who was the one who orange pilled me, and so yeah, I have a lot of respect for Tone Vase. So yeah, I love it. And the Scammies is one of my favorite events. So I'm glad to see you host it. I think you did a great job.
It was fun. Myself and Nico got to do a little co-hosting. That'll be on YouTube at some point, but it was a good time.
Yeah. I
figure since we're here, so we're doing Why Are We Bullish a little bit different this week because I'm on the road and I get to have a little bit more just like one-on-one time with people. But maybe before we get into why you're bullish, give yourself a little intro for anybody unfamiliar. Who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, so my name is Bitcoin Shooter. I'm a filmmaker. I made a short film about El Salvador that I published 2 years ago that Nayib Bukele had reposted, and so that kind of got the wheels turning of planning maybe a full-length film. And for the last 2 years I've been making a film about inflation, and that's all I'm doing, just living the dream right now, man. So that's what I do.
That's fantastic. I love it when people are passionate about something and then put in the work to actually get to do what they love, and it's refreshing to see. So that's congrats, man. And
Thank you.
Who knows? One day you may be on your favorite streaming platform, ingesting all kinds of content from Shooter here.
Who knows? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So again, this is Why Are We Bullish?
Yeah.
And usually it's a panel situation, but like it's always fun to get like some more one-on-one and get a little bit deeper into things. So I'm just structuring this as kind of quick, like 15-20 minute chats about what people are currently buzzing about. So like in the world of Bitcoin, what's exciting to you right now? What has your eye?
Yeah. The last time I was on your show was, I don't know, almost 2 years ago maybe now. And the reason I had before was the people in Bitcoin who are all building the things that they want to build or that they think should be built. And I'm forever going to be bullish on that because I know all the time I'm spending and all the focus I'm spending doing my film, someone else is doing the same exact thing, but maybe for some privacy solution, maybe for some, Stratum V2 mining, pool decentralization. And so, and I know they're doing it for the right reasons, right? They're not necessarily just trying to become rich, even though that's not a bad thing. But, I know what wakes me up in the morning and gets me motivated to go. And I know a lot of other people are feeling that way and putting it into their craft. So I'm bullish on that. But even now, I'm bullish on people in general, because I can see the average person noticing that something is wrong. I just think we've hit the point where things are getting so expensive that there's no way of hiding the inflation anymore. And people are going to start really feeling the pain. You can say inflation is 2% or 3% or 10% or 20%. It doesn't even matter. What matters is what people feel when they're in the grocery store. So, of course, I don't think everybody's going to jump onto Bitcoin, once they really start feeling the pain. But I think the world feels like it's ready to me. And obviously this has happened to money many times. And I think maybe the benefit now is we have technology, and even though there can be an oversaturation of information and you don't know what's right, but I think that it's going to actually be beneficial. I think that people are all going to be saying, like they already are, like, hey, what's going on? I'm really feeling this pain. And I think they're just primed and ready to understand that the money is broken, and it's profound, but it's just that simple. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is wild to think how many things have entered the public discourse and the kind of regular vernacular of day-to-day people that just weren't present prior. Like, I mean, inflation as a term is one thing. People were familiar with the term, but like it wasn't used regularly, and now everybody's like, oh God, inflation. And they see, as you said, they see it at the grocery store. And the numbers don't matter, it's the feel, right? It's that somebody goes, I used to be able to feed my family and not panic about it, and now we're cutting meals. And that's something that no matter how many times you say to your populace, oh, isn't it great? Inflation is going down, and people are going, yes, but things are still expensive and they're still getting more expensive. And so the terminology being used when people say, oh, inflation's on the way down, it's still getting more expensive, just not as fast as it was. But it's still, you're not getting a break. Your prices aren't going down. So people are cluing into things like that. And you're right. I think they're primed to learn about it. The other thing that has popped up, the other term, like most people had never ever heard the term fiat before, and now it's like you hear it on the news, you hear it talked about, you hear it discussed, and where I think that's going, what I hope is where it's going, is Bitcoiners use that as a slur, right? Like you call something fiat, that's an insult to that thing, or that habit, or oh, it's a fiat habit, or that's that product is fiat or whatever. Yeah. I hope it gets there. I hope that meme comes to the regular cadence of how people speak. I don't know if we'll get there, but maybe I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll know when we're there, when the hip hop artists and the rappers stop rapping about having millions of dollars in their bank account.
Yeah,
I got M's in my bank. It's like, no, you don't actually. Yeah. It's there, but if you say something wrong, or if that bank wants you to not have that money. I mean, Wendy Williams, for example, I think a year or two ago, Wells Fargo wasn't giving her money because I think she's going through some mental issues or whatever, but they said she's deemed unfit to make her own decisions, and so it's kind of under the control of whoever legally has and again, it just points to, I don't know, maybe she isn't fit, but it's her money, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, I think we'll know when it hits the mainstream, when you start hearing more publicly, like instead of people rapping about making dollars or singing about making dollars and having money in the bank account, they'll actually start saying, like, I got it on my wallet, I got it on chain, I got money that you can't touch, And
it almost becomes a cultural shift as well in the, right now, the I guess like it's a culture of spend on just like whatever, like throwaway cash, and there is a culture of doom spending and just like I'm never going to reach my life's ambition anyway, so I'll just like as soon as I get cash, it's right back out the door. I think it shifts towards like a longer term thinking, like almost I hope anyways that there's more of a culture of thinking forward and I'm building something important, and like rather than flexing and saying like, oh, I blew hundreds of thousands of dollars on this car that like nobody's going to care about in a few years. It's, oh, I'm building me and my family for the future. Like I'm what I'm doing now is going to build generations of wealth, or I'm going to build a dynasty with it. Like, like it's bombastic still, but in a more productive and positive way, I think. And I hope that's where we get culturally and like through art.
I think the culture right now, it plays into the younger generation, and I think when you're younger also, you have a different state of mind, and maybe you have different goals, and if you want to be rich and you plan on being rich, I think a lot of times that isn't synonymous with having a family and raising children. I think it's more synonymous with having a bunch of girlfriends and dating 20-year-olds your whole life. And I think that's kind of what gets pushed out there. But in the future, the only way to be wealthy is going to be to offer value. And I mean, I think even if you look at Jay-Z, who's an older rapper, he has one of his latest albums, he talks about like he bought every V12 engine, and he says, I wish I could take it back to the beginning. And he could have bought a property in Dumbo, New York that was like $2 million, and now it's like $20 million, right? So I think it's just a natural thing with age, probably as you get older. And I wonder how many people who have bought in those stupid expensive cars regret it. I mean, imagine all the athletes, all the celebrities, all the rappers, all the people that like spent all of their money. And now they're no longer competing. Like you have a short lifespan in that industry, and it's like, if I just didn't buy that car, and I bought a house instead, because that was the move before Bitcoin, they would be in a much better position. So I think we're going to see that, because even if you're a culturally popular person, but you have all your money in dollars, when the hyperinflation comes, and as it's, everything's getting more expensive, it's just going to melt away. And then maybe there's going to be a few, celebrities that put it in Bitcoin. They're going to be like, hey, I'm fine. I put it in Bitcoin. That's going to be the cool thing. So yeah, the culture is likely going to shift completely. Money is so foundational. And so when you have a broken money, you change the whole world and what's important and what people think is cool. And when you have good money, you change it the same way. Again, in a Bitcoin world, the richest person theoretically will have helped the most people, would have offered the most value. If you start from an even playing field, or you work past the, people who got in earlier or whatever. But that's a great thing, because I think currently people who are rich now, really, really wealthy in terms of dollars and the fiat system, you have to sell your soul. You have to be willing to take advantage of other people. At a minimum, take on massive amounts of loans, which is money creation, which is doing the same thing. So yeah, it's going to be a completely different world when the only way to make money is to offer value and to help people. And how beautiful is that going to be when you're actually rewarded for helping people and being a good person, versus rewarded for being willing to sell your soul.
I can't wait for the culture to elevate those who create value for others. That's going to be, I think we're headed that way. I think you're right. And I don't know, that's a very exciting idea, and I'm glad we got to touch on that. Now, so what I like to do kind of as I, we finish out a conversation, I usually like to ask the person that I'm chatting to, like, is there anything currently that you have come across, whether that be in the form of a book, a podcast, a movie, an app, a device, something that you're like, oh, that was valuable to me, that helped me in my journey, or I enjoyed that, and that you think people watching this may also benefit from. Is there anything that comes to mind for you?
Yeah, it's probably going to be the same thing I said last time, because of these things to me were so foundational and so profound. But like a book, for example, is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
Yes.
It's really good at making it clear that life is how you judge it and what you make of it. And also makes it clear that people come and go, and people die all the time. And even if you had a short life, 30 years, is not necessarily better than 90 years. And in the end, we all meet the same place. So he's been really helpful for me to, maybe when I'm not feeling so good about a situation, or so, where I am, I remind myself that I can choose how I feel about this, and I can look for good things, and I can be happy about it instead. And that makes me feel better. And it's also contagious too. Like, people always tell me I'm always smiling all the time, and it's true. I really am genuinely always happy, because every day I'm happy to be alive. And it's contagious. When you smile at other people, they smile too. And so I think Meditations by Marcus Aurelius is really good to help you, I don't know, just realize so many things that stress you out aren't that important. Another one in the same line is Alan Watts. He has a book called You're It, and he's a spiritual stand-up philosopher is his title.
Nice.
And his a lot in the same vein too. It's just like being present, enjoying life, realizing how you judge things is what you do. And then finally, posture has been really impactful in my life. I've had bad posture my whole life, and I had really bad back pain a number of years ago, and I couldn't work anymore, and I took time off, and I've been slowly fixing that, and I noticed it changed my mental. It makes me much more confident. It makes me much more willing to do difficult tasks. And so that's really my thing for the people is, those books are good, I think, for your mind, but also your body. You should have your body meet you there, because if your body is not at peace, in my opinion, your mind cannot be at peace, and vice versa. So I think if you do those two things, maybe you'll be happier with going with the flow of life, and being happy with where it takes you, versus trying to control it so much and being unhappy with certain things. So that's what I would say.
Take care of the physical and the mental. It's important. Well, dude, thank you so much for this. I really enjoyed getting to just chat with you in a cool location at a fun event.
Oh, yeah.
And I look forward to seeing all of the amazing stuff that you're making. So cheers, man.
You too, man. Keep it up. All right,
Cheers.
man. Cheers.
Speed Wallet is a Bitcoin Lightning wallet built with simplicity in mind. Send and receive with ease, claim your own Lightning address, shop your favorite gift cards, and even earn rewards when you spend. Head over to speed.app to download the app on your mobile or desktop today, and be sure to use code BTC SESSIONS10 to get 5,000 sats for free and the chance to win even more. DEBIFI.com allows you to borrow against your Bitcoin in a non-custodial way. Collateral is held in a 3 of 4 distributed multisig with trusted parties. It provides institutional liquidity providers, loan periods of up to 5 years with flexible conditions and the best rates. And best of all, no rehypothecation of your funds. If you want to check them out today, head over to debify.com or hit the link in the show notes down below. CoinKite.com has some of the best hardware on the market today to secure your Bitcoin. The Cold Card Q is an absolute powerhouse and is my daily driver. And on top of this, they have plenty of other goodies, including the Mark IV, the Tap Signer, Open Dimes, the Block Clock, and much more. If you head over to their website, make sure you use code BTC Sessions at checkout to get a nice discount. Links are in the show notes down below.
Yo, man. How you doing?
Hey, doing well.
Awesome. Cheers. We are here again. We're in Vegas. We've been chilling out at Unconfiscatable. You've been having a decent time?
Been having an amazing time. Had a great time at the Scammies last night.
Yes.
You and Nico killed it. You guys were awesome as hosts, and I just had a great time just laughing and having fun, making fun of all the scammers that are in the crypto space.
And you're the mastermind that really helps it come together. So I'll let you give yourself a quick intro for anybody watching this unfamiliar. Sure. Who are you? What do you do?
Sure, I'm Patrick. I go by Bitcoin Motorist on Twitter and on YouTube. So I've been someone who's been excited about Bitcoin for a long time. And I got introduced to Bitcoin back in 2013 after the Cyprus bank bail-in crisis. So that was when I realized that humanity really needs some sort of a money that we actually control. And I've been a believer of sound money for a long time.
Yeah.
So I was a believer in the gold standard before I even discovered Bitcoin. So when I discovered Bitcoin and I saw how it shared the similarities with gold, it just made perfect sense to me. And I got all in, and I started mining, and now I'm just here. I am. I work with you with Bitcoin Mentor, and I work with Tone with his conferences and with Unconfiscatable and the Scammies, and I'm just super excited about Bitcoin and about the future of Bitcoin right now.
Awesome. Well, yeah, it's been a hell of a ride. It sounds like just kind of navigating everything. I mean, it sounds like you were predisposed to kind of discover Bitcoin. You were on that wavelength beforehand. So I mean, we're here. We're in Vegas. I'm doing kind of an impromptu, on the go. Why are we bullish? And it's, you know, normally these are panel shows, but it's nice to get some more like one-on-one time with these. So, you know, I guess my question for you is, why are you bullish? What is currently exciting to you in Bitcoin right now?
Sure. For a slightly tipsy traveling version of why are we bullish? So I'm bullish because I have seen over and over again Bitcoin overcome amazing adversity and come out stronger than it was before. This isn't to say that you know, there aren't going to be more challenges in the future. I think that there will be, but I just see Bitcoin constantly surprising. Like when the fork wars happened back in 2017, I remember thinking that this was going to be a big threat to Bitcoin. At least early on, I did. Once the fork actually happened, I don't think I was worried about it by then. But I was just surprised that you know, if you had told me then that, you know, a few years later, nobody would be even caring about Bitcoin Cash, I would have thought that was a great victory, you know. And right now, Bitcoin, you know, is going through some adversity with, you know, there may be some issues with spam, and you know, there may be some ways to try to figure this out. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I'm extremely bullish because I'm confident that whatever the issue is, whether it's spam or whether it's you know, paper Bitcoin with an ETF, whatever the issue is, I'm just very confident that Bitcoin will overcome that issue, just like it's overcome all the other issues like Mt. Gox failure, the fork wars, and every other adversity that Bitcoin has faced that people said were going to kill Bitcoin, and every time it's emerged stronger. And there's so many people who hold lots of Bitcoin. There's so many people who hold. Hey, we're out on the road, so we got people coming around. It's all good. It's all good, Stacy. No worries. So what I was saying is I've seen Bitcoin overcome these things over and over again, and the reason why Bitcoin wins is because there are so many people who hold Bitcoin and will never let anything mess with Bitcoin.
100%. And I got to echo it. It's funny. You know, you help, you're masterminding the scammies, and one of the topics, like just to call back to the fork wars and all of that, one of the nominees for most irrelevant,
most irrelevant huge shitcoin news.
And one of the topics which I thought was most irrelevant, it didn't take the prize, but was Roger Ver's. What's the name of his book?
So Roger Ver wrote a book called Hijacking Bitcoin. And before the book came out, all these big blockers were on Twitter saying, "Oh, you got to read the book. You got to read the book." And I'm like responding to them. I'm like, do you really think that book is going to change my mind if I read it? And they're like, "Oh, you have to read it. Read it with an open mind." So here's what I did. Roger and I, we actually have been friends before. I think not so much anymore, but before we were kind of friends. We were friends on Facebook, and I had met him a bunch of times, and we were on good terms. So I messaged Roger, and I said, "Hey, Roger, can you send me a copy of your book? Because I want to read it." And he did. See, he sent it to me about a week before it released, and I read the book. And I think that that whether you're you know, a Bitcoiner or if you're a BCHer, reading that book will tell you a lot about Roger Ver's mentality. That book right there didn't really change my mind. I don't know if I even learned anything new from that book, but that book basically just said, listen, all these companies, these early Bitcoin companies, wanted bigger blocks, and we didn't get it. Why? Because they had to come up with some reason why. It was because of Adam Back, or it was because of you know, one of the core developers they didn't like, you know. And that wasn't the reason why they didn't get it. The reason why they didn't get it is because the nodes didn't go along with you, and that's all it was. And that's the surprising thing about Bitcoin is it doesn't matter what some big corporation or a group of big corporations get together and decide to do. They can't change Bitcoin without the nodes and the users going along with it, and that is what Roger never learned. He still doesn't understand. That's why his fork failed.
I mean, it would have been infinitely more concerning, and to me, a reason to maybe turn away from Bitcoin in the end if you had. I mean, it was unprecedented. You had the 50 largest companies in the space, like 80% of the hash power, something like, it was like it was insurmountable odds of people that wanted to change Bitcoin and install their own development. They're basically a single developer. They wanted to change how Bitcoin worked. But at the end of the day, people that decided, no, listen, this is Bitcoin for me. I'm gonna run a node. I'm gonna put my foot down. I'm not going along with this. And at the end of the day, what won out was the people.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what makes Bitcoin different from anything else. Anything else you can think of, whatever technology or issue it is, if the big corporations get together and they all decide to change something, they're able to change it. Users be damned, fans be damned.
Yeah.
But when the same thing tried to happen in Bitcoin, that was the ultimate anti-fragility test.
Yeah.
It failed, and I was extremely happy. And this doesn't apply to any other altcoin. Like I don't think this would work in Ethereum. If Vitalik and a group of big ETH, hodlers got together and they said that they wanted something, it would get done. It didn't matter what the users wanted.
Yeah.
And that doesn't apply to Bitcoin. It applies to everything else, but not to Bitcoin. This is why Bitcoin is, I kind of feel funny saying this, but I do really think Bitcoin is exceptional. Not to say it can't, have issues and it can't go through adversity, but I think that it will overcome all of those issues.
Yeah, it's a hard mindset for people to get into when you come into the Bitcoin realm and you're thinking of it from a tech perspective.
Yeah.
It's the move fast and break things and we need to iterate and change everything. But like at the end of the day, one of the key tenets of Bitcoin, why it's so important, why it's so radically different, is that you have the utmost, the dial on the assurance you have that the rules as they exist now will continue to exist into the future for all of the important kind of consensus level stuff. That Bitcoin is that. It's do I know that there will be a 21 million cap into the future? Do I know this will be censorship resistant into the future? Do I know the following things about this? It's those foundational rules that you want to be certain aren't going to be shifted and changed out from under you. And it's all of the other coins that are just malleable. They spin it as, oh, we're adding features and we can do all this great stuff, but like at what cost? And the cost is that you have no idea how that thing's going to be.
It's just another centralized technology. It's no different than anything else. And another thing that I'm really bullish on is I think Bitcoin, as is, even right now, has already started to change history. Yeah. I remember when I first got into Bitcoin in 2013, after the Cyprus crisis. It was this thing that people were saying, oh, this is going to happen every couple of years. Every couple of years, we're going to have a crisis like this, where we're going to have a bank bail-in, and every time the government is short on money, they're just going to go in and take people's funds. And you notice it hasn't happened since then. Not to say it will never happen again. I do think something like that will probably happen again in the future. But when that happened, Bitcoin just went on this amazing pump. And a lot of people got into Bitcoin after that bank bail-in crisis. And you notice that hasn't happened again. Not to say it will never happen again, but it hasn't happened again because people don't want to give, because the people that are in power don't want to give people a reason to jump to Bitcoin, to go to Bitcoin. So, I mean, they're not going to be able to prevent people from going to Bitcoin, but it's already started to have an effect in how things happen.
Yeah, and the best part is every time there is a news item in and around the inability of people to access, quote unquote, their money, or there's some sort of a, again, Cyprus crisis. The
Canadian, the
Canadian trucker protest. If you go back in the years following the Cyprus, I mean, like in Greece, where they were limiting 40, 50 euros a day or something like that. But like all of these examples, it gives us just so many things to point to say, here's why Bitcoin's important. Here's why Bitcoin's important. And while it doesn't orange pill everybody immediately, what you get is a series of examples and touch points where people start to go, oh yeah, maybe that would be useful for me. Maybe in that example would be, and so the more people kind of see it around and that it continues to proliferate and exist in the face of adversity, I think people are very much waking up. Like, do you see that? In your day-to-day?
I think most people will just go along with whatever. They don't really care. But you have these 20% who are these innovators who are going to go into Bitcoin, and then when everyone thinks they're crazy, and then the 80%, they don't really care one way or another, but they're just going to go along with whatever. Whatever is the most popular, that's what they're okay with. So once Bitcoin becomes mainstream, everyone's going to be okay with it, and there's not going to be any rebellious thing about it. But I guess maybe there is something to say about keeping Bitcoin weird. You know, I used to say this thing, I think it still applies today, which is I don't want Bitcoin to go mainstream. I want mainstream to go Bitcoin. And I think that I want people to become Bitcoiners, you know, accepting Bitcoin's values. But and I think most people just go, the values are whatever's what's popular, whatever everyone else says, they just want to fit in. We're different, you know, we're okay with standing out, we're okay with being different from everyone else, but most people aren't like that. Most people just want to fit in with everyone else. And once Bitcoin becomes mainstream and accepted and everyone's talking about it and everyone's okay with it, then everyone's going to be using it and they're not going to give it a second thought.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're on the way there. It's, you know, as with everything, it'll always take time. And when you're in the middle of it, it's kind of like, come on. But when in hindsight, everything has happened so quickly. Like, I mean, Bitcoin's been around for 15 years. It's wild. We're at a point where it's already in the forefront as an election issue. We've got a country that has it as legal tender. We have you know, on the negative side of things, these geopolitical and like the DOJ locking up devs. We've got all of this stuff happening and so much of it at the forefront. And then we've got all the institutional stuff happening. But at the core, Bitcoin in and of itself was a bottom-up grassroots movement. And to me, that's the most important part of it. Yes, like, so if you get some top-down approval, it can make your life easier.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Bitcoin was not born into a situation where somebody came and said, hey, government, I'm going to create a competitor to the US dollar. Is that kosher? No, it was,
no.
You know, this is here. It exists now, and the world has to grapple with the fact that it exists. And same thing with something like El Zonte. It came to fruition. In that case, they did get some top-down approval and some recognition, but in a different country, it might have been different.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, when it has that grassroots start, it's really hard to stamp out.
Yeah, and a special thank you to Satoshi for disappearing.
Yes.
And staying disappeared.
Yes.
And don't come back, Satoshi, if you're listening to this.
Yeah. If anything, like, I hope nobody ever finds out.
Exactly.
who Satoshi
Same here.
is. Yeah.
Same here.
Awesome. Well, so the way I like to finish out these conversations is usually with some type of a recommendation. It's very free-flowing, whatever, but just something that you've encountered, whether it be a book, an app, a device, a personal experience, but something that you think people watching this may find helpful. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, if you're interested in mining, I say look into ocean.xyz. Ocean is a mining pool where you can set up a miner at home and you can connect to it, and it's changing the way mining happens, because everyone has been saying since mining pools became a thing that we need to make sure mining stays decentralized, and Ocean is actually finding a way to do it where each individual miner will be able to custom make their own template to decide what goes in their blog. Now, if you don't understand what any of that means, don't worry about it. But yeah, look into ocean.xyz, and there's a Telegram group full of Ocean miners. You can find me, Bitcoin Motorist, on Twitter. I can guide you to that Telegram group, and also BitAxe. So if you want to start mining and you want to mine on a small scale, get a BitAxe, and you can start solo mining or connecting to ocean.xyz and mining that way, and you can get started. And you know, you're probably not going to get rich with that, but you'll at least be doing something to help the network, and you'll be doing something cool to learn about Bitcoin. And I think that is super awesome. And I'm really excited about what Ocean is doing, and I'm really excited about BitAxe and what they're doing with their solo mining tiny miners.
A great project. I highly encourage. Again, it's a fun hobbyist thing, and it's a great educational tool. And there's a tutorial on the channel about it. But hey,
there you go.
Need additional help,
BTC Sessions. Check out the tutorial. Yeah, or you can come to me.
You can come. Motorist is more than happy. Go hit up bitcoinmentor.io and say that. Let us know that you want to learn about. Some,
and I'll help you. I'll help you get set up with mining.
Yeah. So that's awesome, dude. I appreciate the chat. It's always great to get bullish with people. It's even better getting bullish with people in person in Vegas on a rooftop after Unconfiscatable. So cheers, man.
Cheers.
Much appreciated.
Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, please do like, subscribe, share all those things that help a ton getting this content in front of more eyeballs. If you want to check out anybody that was on the show, make sure you check in the show notes and you can follow them and see what they continue to be up to. If you want to help the show in another way, hit up the previously mentioned sponsors in the show notes down below. And finally, what I will say is,
If you've been perusing the channel, sorting through all of the tutorials, you're leveling up your Bitcoin game, trying to be as self-sovereign as possible, and maybe you've hit a snag and you need some additional help, please do head over to bitcoinmentor.io. I have aggregated an incredible team of educators. They can help you through anything you're trying to do: wallets, hardware, multisig, lightning, running a node, hobbyist, home mining, all of that stuff. They can get you set up and ready to go. All you got to do is reach out. Again, bitcoinmentor.io. Come check them out. They can help you out. But with that, I'll wind it out. Again, I bid you adieu from lovely, what's the fabulous Las Vegas, from the Unconfiscatable Conference. Have a wonderful day or evening wherever you may be, and I'll see you guys next time for your daily session.
HODL the Bitcoin.